One thing that I noticed about your film Viva Verdi is a sense of community, of uh,
Yeah.
of gathering people together that may have been marginalized and basically left to fend for themselves because of a career choice where they found themselves they didn't have a lot of money. And Giuseppe Verdi created a Casa Verdi, which would be a retirement home for artists, opera singers, and musicians that they could live out their last days in dignity and grace.
Yes. And it's remarkable. When I learned about the home, which was in 2010, I was working on assignment for National Geographic Television, and I was following a photographer named David Yoder. And we were covering a story on Milan. It was Milan's big heart for the Traveler magazine. But he said, we need to go to this retirement home. I really want you to see this place. He goes, it's a remarkable place. There's aging opera singers, famous, throughout the world that live here and have lived here. Let's see it. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm on the TV side and I'm trying to figure out like, okay, well, yeah, let's check it out. Let's see how we could make this for television. But when I went with him, it was, I had never seen anything like it in the world. It is the most magnificent, beautiful neo-Gothic style mansion that was built by Giuseppe Verdi himself. And he made sure that every detail was taken care of. And he hired like all the greatest artists of the world, from glassmakers to, designers and architects. Everything was all about the artistry and music. And it's even shaped so that when the sound permeates through the hallways, everything elevates up. So it's really magical. So when I walked in for the first time, I was in awe. Secondly, I heard a voice, and the voice of a beautiful soprano. And I was just like, who is singing? Where is this coming from? And that voice carried me through the hallway. And I thought, it was maybe somebody who was 20 years old that was singing because the voice was so strong. And then when I turned to look, it was a woman who was in her 80s that was teaching and mentoring a young Japanese student. And she was sitting there dressed to the nines, playing the piano, singing, teaching. And I thought, wow, like how cool is this? Then after that, as we walked through the hallways, there were all of these different rooms and people that were mentoring. There were young students with aging artists. And I thought, someday I want to come back and tell this story about the home itself. But Verdi was a remarkable human, and that he willed his entire fortune to build this home. And he did it because there were no pensions for artists at the time, for musicians at the time. Although he, through his opera royalties, he made so much money during his fame and prime time during with his famous operas, that he used those royalties to help with the home. And so, one thing about him that was so humbling is that he didn't want any praise for this. So he said, wait until after my death, then you can open the home.
I'm 82 years old. I'm singer and pianist.
Il mio nome è Leonello.
Perché effettivamente rispetto a loro sono più giovane.
Dunque, io mi chiamo Lina Vasta. Nella mia cantiere sono cantante lirica.
Music saved their lives. If it wasn't for the music, that's what brought them all together in the home in the first place, because each one of them was dedicated their life to music. And so in that home at Casa Verde, everybody is still performing. They're still on stage. It doesn't matter if they're 80 or 90 years old. They're still on stage. And for them to be able to share that with each other, and to also like continue to learn and mentor. Like there's a group, there's another side of the house which has, there's international music students that live alongside them. There's 16 students, and those students get to who are in Milan, that are practicing musicians and studying, they get to live in the house with them. So there's a mentorship and a cross generational exchange between the two. So can you imagine the wisdom of this elder master, right? Like just in music and opera, and then you have this young person who's like in their 20s that's learning, but learning in a way where it's not in a book. You're learning the secrets from these masters.
It is not only a house for all people, but there is a mixture of young and old.
Devi lavorare il suono.
The body is old, the mind is young.
Vorrei ancora poter indicare qualche percorso, qualche strada ai giovani.
It's great to be surrounded by music.
Creatività sia un elemento di grande importanza per invecchiare il più tardi possibile.
Vorrei poter ancora dire qualche cosa.
We learned so much about their lives, and then that connected to the overall themes that music and creativity were the essence. That's what elevates their life condition to the ultimate degree at that stage of life. So, and that's one of the core messages within the film.
I am Carmen Gerosa. I'm from Italy, from Milano. I am a volunteer in this house. The only thing to come here, you must be a musician.
Alle Pranzettina, dal 27 giugno del 1920.
It shines a different light on the notion of aging and creativity and longevity and living a fulfilled life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's aging gracefully with dignity.
Yes.
And how this could really be a floor plan for communities in America, which,
yes.
and it's just getting back to that, that notion of, it seems as if people reach a certain age and then they're not relevant anymore. And they're almost discarded.
Yeah.
But with this film, we see that they still have that, there's something to contribute, which is vastly important to being alive. That
yes.
notion of contribution, of being heard and being seen.
Yes.
So I really appreciate the fact that you took this project on, and now it can go out into the world and let other people maybe have that kernel of an idea that, wow, this is something that could manifest here.
Yes.
In the States.
Yes. And that's the goal, actually. That is one of the goals. When we first made it, I was making it for the home, for Casa Verde. It was like, you need something, like people need to know about this place, but it skyrocketed into this idea of like, wow, like if communities here, like in the US or around the world, were to use Viva Verdi as a blueprint for their senior living centers or retirement homes, where creativity and even cross-generational exchange happens, where there's energy, right? There's an energy exchange. It can be pretty incredible. And so far, that's one of our impact plans, is to reach out to retirement homes. And in fact, we have been screening in a few of them so far, and it's been amazing. We've had encore screenings, multiple requests. So right now what we're doing is we are releasing the film theatrically here in Los Angeles at Laemmle Theaters in Santa Monica from October 3rd through the 9th. And after that, we have, I think there's 11 screenings until December. And we have a big Lincoln Center screening on December the 3rd, and then Sarasota Opera House. And we also have movies for grownups with AARP in December. So that's super exciting. And then we'll see, where we end up. Hopefully we end up on a streamer somewhere as well. But the great thing is that we own our film outright. So we've raised all the money for this movie through foundations and private donors, so that way we can control and make sure that it gets to be seen by the people in the demographic that we want to have see it. So yes, we do want Viva Verde to be a blueprint for senior living centers.
Casa Verdi è unica al mondo.
Yep.
La tavola è il momento più importante della giornata.
In working on this film, did it change your perspective a little bit about getting older and
what? I'm not getting older. I'm just getting.
We're all getting. We're all getting older.
Wiser.
And yeah, but did it looking at it, did it change the way that you perceive your life and your legacy?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And how did it change that?
Well, when your work is service, like when your story serves a purpose, when your art is serving a purpose, that to me is legacy. When your work is elevating life conditions or shining a spotlight or creating an understanding of our community and building community and what music and artistic expression can continue to do with, aging artists and people, like it's a wonderful thing. And so it's really about the service for me. Like it's the serving, having your work serve humanity. That to me is a good thing.
What is one question that you've wanted to be asked, but no one's ever asked you?
One question. I have no idea. I have no idea. I've never been asked that. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you've got a lot on your plate, and once again, beautiful film.
Yay. Thank you so much.
As they say in theater for tonight and your opening, merit.
Soltanto aspettare questo troppo triste, vero? Io ho qualche speranza ancora.
Grazie Verdi, sei stato grande.
Viva Verdi! Pronto? I don't know what's happening. Pronto? Shut